Hello, and welcome back to Speak English Daily.
Hi, everyone. We are very happy to see you here today.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak English Daily. Today, we're talking about something very human, regrets.
Yeah, and I think this topic is going to feel very familiar to a lot of people because everybody regrets something.
Definitely. Some regrets are serious, and some are honestly just funny and embarrassing.
I have plenty of embarrassing ones.
Same here. I still think about messages I sent years ago and suddenly feel uncomfortable.
Oh, those late-night messages?
Yes, those are dangerous. Sometimes you think you sound smart or emotional, and then the next morning you read the message again and think, why did I send that?
Looking back, many bad decisions happen late at night.
That's true. Staying awake too long can make people emotional and dramatic.
I regret buying things online late at night, too.
What did you buy?
A tiny blender that looked amazing in an advertisement. The video made it look powerful and useful.
Let me guess, it barely worked.
Barely. It couldn't even blend a banana properly.
That was a bad decision.
A very bad decision. I used it once and never touched it again.
I think everybody has bought something useless because of social media.
Especially when the advertisement says things like, "This product will change your life."
And then it arrives and your life stays the same.
Or gets worse because now your money is gone.
Honestly, one of my biggest small regrets is eating unhealthy food when I know I'll feel terrible later.
That's such a relatable one. In the moment, fast food sounds wonderful.
Then an hour later, you regret everything.
I wish I hadn't eaten so much junk food during college. My energy was terrible all the time.
Same. I used to drink sugary coffee drinks almost every day.
People usually connect regret with huge life choices, but small daily regrets are also part of life.
Right. Regret can simply mean wishing you had made a different choice.
It's like looking back and thinking, I could have handled that better.
Or, I wish I hadn't done that.
The interesting thing is that regrets often teach us something.
That's true. Even silly mistakes can make you wiser.
Although some mistakes are still painful to remember.
Especially the embarrassing ones.
Those memories appear in your brain at the worst possible moment.
Usually when you're trying to sleep peacefully.
Then suddenly your brain reminds you about something awkward you said 5 years ago.
And you physically react to the memory.
That's a universal experience.
But honestly, I think regrets also show that we're growing as people.
Good point. If you can recognize your mistakes now, it means you've changed since then.
That's such a good point, because when I think about my teenage years, I realize I was a completely different person.
Same here. Teenagers are usually still trying to understand themselves.
And sometimes we made decisions based on fear, pressure, or insecurity.
I regret not studying seriously when I was younger.
Really? You seem like the responsible student type.
Not at all. At the time, I thought I had plenty of time for everything. I would always say, I'll study tomorrow.
That famous sentence.
Yes, and suddenly exams appeared out of nowhere.
I used to do something similar. I spent more time decorating my notebooks than actually reading them.
Honestly, school can be strange because many students are smart, but they don't have discipline yet.
That's true. When you're young, it's easy to focus on short-term fun instead of long-term goals.
If I could go back, I would learn more useful skills earlier.
Like what?
Public speaking, communication, maybe even another language.
I was very shy as a teenager, so public speaking terrified me.
Were you the type of student who avoided raising their hand in class?
Completely. Even if I knew the answer, I stayed quiet because I was afraid of saying something wrong.
I think many English learners feel the same way when they try speaking English.
Definitely. They understand more than they speak, but fear stops them.
Fear of embarrassment is powerful.
I remember feeling insecure about my pronunciation when I was younger. I thought everybody would judge me.
And usually, nobody cared as much as we imagined.
Exactly. That's something I didn't realize at the time. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves.
Teenagers often feel like everybody is watching them.
Yes, and even tiny mistakes feel huge.
I also regret caring too much about fitting in with certain people.
Choosing the wrong friends?
A little. Not terrible people, but immature friendships that pushed me in bad directions sometimes.
I understand that. When you're young, you often follow the group because you want acceptance.
Even when you know something feels wrong.
I had moments where I stayed quiet instead of being honest because I didn't want people to dislike me.
Looking back, confidence changes everything.
It really does. Confident people still make mistakes, but they recover faster.
And they're less afraid to try new things.
I wish I had understood earlier that being embarrassed for a few minutes is better than missing opportunities for years.
That's such an important lesson, especially for language learners.
Because progress becomes very slow when fear controls you.
I've met people with amazing grammar who still avoid conversations because they're scared of making small mistakes.
Meanwhile, confident learners improve faster because they practice more.
Which proves that confidence is sometimes more important than perfection.
You know, a lot of regrets are connected to communication.
Absolutely. Sometimes one sentence can damage a relationship for years.
Or silence can.
That's true too. Some people regret what they said, and others regret what they never said.
I think one of my biggest communication regrets was avoiding difficult conversations.
Because you didn't want conflict?
Yeah, I wanted everybody to feel comfortable, so I stayed quiet too often.
I used to do that too, but avoiding problems usually make them bigger later.
Exactly. At first, silence feels easier. Then, suddenly, the situation becomes tense and confusing.
And by that point, things got awkward.
Very awkward.
I remember a friendship that slowly ended because neither of us talked honestly.
That's sad.
We both acted polite, but something was clearly wrong. Instead of discussing it, we just became more distant over time.
That kind of situation hurts because there's no real ending.
Right. Nobody explains anything. The connection just disappears slowly.
I think many people have experienced ghosting too.
Definitely. And honestly, I regret ghosting someone when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah, I was immature and uncomfortable with confrontation. Instead of explaining my feelings, I stopped replying.
Did you feel guilty afterward?
Very guilty. At the time, I convinced myself it was easier for both of us, but it probably caused confusion and pain.
Sometimes people avoid honesty because they think honesty sounds cruel.
But silence can be cruel too.
Exactly. Even a difficult conversation can be more respectful than disappearing.
I've also regretted saying things during moments of anger.
Same. Anger changes the way people speak.
I once made a sarcastic comment to a friend during an argument, and I could immediately see the hurt on his face.
Those moments stay in your memory.
They really do. I remember thinking, I didn't mean it that way. But honestly, the damage was already done.
Words are strange because you can't take them back once they leave your mouth.
And apologizing is harder than people expect.
Especially when pride gets involved.
Or embarrassment.
I used to think apologizing made a person look weak.
I used to think that too when I was younger.
But now I see it differently. A sincere apology takes courage.
It does. Saying, I handled that badly is uncomfortable, but it can repair trust.
Sometimes people wait too long to apologize because they hope the problem will disappear naturally.
Meanwhile, the other person is sitting there feeling hurt and confused.
Communication becomes even harder when misunderstandings happen through text messages.
Oh, absolutely. Texts have no tone of voice, no facial expressions, nothing.
I've sent messages that sounded cold without realizing it.
Same here. Then suddenly the other person replies differently and you realize something feels wrong.
Then you start rereading every message like a detective.
trying to find the exact moment everything became uncomfortable.
I think mature communication is one of the hardest skills to learn.
Because it requires honesty, patience, emotional control, and listening,
And many people were never taught those skills properly.
which is why adults are still learning them every day.
Honestly, if I could go back, I would communicate more clearly and stop expecting people to read my mind.
That lesson alone can improve almost every relationship in life.
You know, communication regrets become even more complicated in work life.
That's very true because work affects your time, energy, confidence, and even your identity sometimes.
I think many adults regret staying too long in jobs that made them unhappy.
I've heard so many people say, I knew I should leave, but I stayed anyway.
Usually because the job felt safe.
Yeah, a stable job can become very hard to walk away from, even when you're miserable.
Especially when bills and responsibilities are involved.
Fear changes people. Sometimes you know a situation is unhealthy, but uncertainty feels even scarier.
I had a period where I ignored my own stress for months because I thought being busy meant being successful.
That's dangerous.
Very dangerous. I was constantly tired, irritable, and emotionally drained, but I kept pushing myself.
That sounds like burnout.
It definitely was. The strange thing is burnout happens slowly. You don't always notice it immediately.
Right. At first, you just think, I'm tired this week.
Then suddenly, every small task feels exhausting.
I've regretted ignoring warning signs in one of my previous jobs, too.
What happened?
I started losing motivation completely. Even Sunday evenings made me anxious because I knew Monday was coming.
That feeling is awful.
It really is. But instead of making changes, I stayed comfortable because the paycheck was reliable.
Sometimes comfort zones become traps.
Exactly. People think comfort zones feel peaceful, but after a while, they can make you feel stuck.
I think another modern regret is constantly comparing careers online.
Social media made that much worse.
Definitely. You open your phone and suddenly somebody your age is buying a house, starting a business, traveling the world, getting a promotion.
Meanwhile, you're sitting there wondering what happened to your own life.
Comparison steals so much happiness.
And the internet only shows highlights, not stress, failure, or loneliness.
I wish more people understood that success happens at different speeds.
Same. When I was younger, I believed I needed everything figured out by a certain age.
Me too. There's so much pressure to achieve quickly.
That pressure can lead people to make career choices that don't fit their real personalities.
Or they become too afraid to take risks.
Honestly, one of my biggest regrets is saying no to opportunities because I was afraid to fail.
What kind of opportunities?
Speaking opportunities, creative projects, leadership roles. I doubted myself before even trying.
I think many capable people do that.
Looking back, I played it too safe sometimes.
Safe decisions protect you from failure, but they can also protect you from growth.
That's a great way to describe it.
Of course, not every risk is smart.
True, but fear alone shouldn't decide your future.
I've learned that career happiness is not only about money or status.
It's also about energy, balance, purpose, and mental health.
Because success means very little if your life feels empty all the time.
And many people realize that lesson much later than they expected.
On a lighter note, I think some regrets are so embarrassing that they eventually become funny.
That's the best kind of regret, because at least you can laugh about it later.
Hopefully, much later.
Very true.
I recently found old photos from my teenage years, and honestly, what was I thinking?
Bad fashion choices?
Terrible fashion choices. I went through a phase where I wore shiny purple sneakers with bright green jackets.
That sounds painful to look at.
It was, and at the time, I genuinely believed I looked cool.
Fashion confidence is dangerous when you're young.
Did you ever have a terrible haircut?
Oh, absolutely. I once tried cutting my own hair because I wanted to save money.
That never ends well.
Never. One side looked normal and the other side looked completely destroyed.
I'm trying not to laugh.
My friends laughed enough for everybody.
Did you at least fix it afterward?
The barber looked at me with disappointment when I walked into the shop.
That still makes me cringe just imagining it.
I can't believe I did that before an important family event, too.
Perfect timing.
The photos from that day are unforgettable for all the wrong reasons.
Speaking of unforgettable, old social media posts are terrifying.
Especially the dramatic quotes people used to post.
Yes, teenagers would post one sad sentence like they were characters in a movie.
Nobody understands me.
The pain changes people.
Meanwhile, nothing serious had even happened.
Looking back, the confidence people had online was unbelievable.
I regret posting song lyrics as status updates like they contained deep life wisdom.
Everybody did that at some point.
I hope so.
One of my worst moments was sending a text message to the wrong person.
That's one of the greatest modern fears.
I was talking about someone with my friend and accidentally sent the message to the actual person.
No.
Yes.
What happened after that?
My heart nearly stopped. I wanted to throw my phone into the ocean.
Did they reply?
They replied with, "Interesting."
That single word is terrifying.
I spent the entire day feeling embarrassed.
Awkward dates can be pretty bad too.
Have you had one?
I once spilled water across the entire table during dinner.
That's manageable.
Then I tried cleaning it quickly and knocked over another glass.
Okay, that's worse.
The waiter looked stressed, my date looked confused, and I wanted to disappear.
Honestly, awkward moments make people more human.
I agree. Perfect people are usually boring.
Plus, embarrassing memories become great stories later.
Eventually. Sometimes it takes years before they become funny.
True, some memories still attack people at 3 in the morning.
And your brain politely reminds you, remember this disaster from 2014?
You know, the older I get, the more I realize that many regrets are connected to time.
I was thinking the same thing. Time feels endless when you're young, but later you suddenly notice how quickly years disappear.
Time goes by fast. People say that all the time, but you don't fully understand it until life starts changing around you.
Exactly. One day you notice your parents are older, your friends are busier, and certain moments will never happen again.
That realization can feel emotional.
Very emotional. I think one of the saddest regrets people have is not spending enough time with the people they love.
I agree. Sometimes work and responsibilities slowly become the center of life.
And without realizing it, meaningful moments become rare.
I remember a period where I was constantly focused on productivity. Every day became about tasks, schedules, and deadlines.
Did it affect your relationships?
Yeah, it did. I was physically present sometimes, but mentally somewhere else.
That disconnected feeling is becoming very common now.
Definitely. People are together, but everybody is staring at screens or thinking about work.
I regret missing small family moments because I thought I was too busy.
What kind of moments?
Simple things. Conversations at dinner, random phone calls, short visits. At the time, they felt ordinary.
But later, those ordinary moments become memories.
Exactly. And once they're gone, you realize how valuable they actually were.
I think many people also regret delaying dreams for too long.
Because they keep waiting for the perfect moment?
Yes. People say things like, "I'll start later," or "maybe next year."
Meanwhile, years keep moving forward quietly.
I know. I know someone who wanted to learn painting for almost 10 years, but never started because life always felt too busy.
That's sad because creative dreams often disappear slowly, not suddenly.
And sometimes people stop believing in themselves without noticing.
Fear of judgment plays a huge role too.
Absolutely. Caring too much about other people's opinions can control your entire life.
I wasted so much energy worrying about how people viewed me.
Same. I used to make decisions based on what sounded impressive instead of what actually made me happy.
Looking back, that's exhausting.
It really is. You end up performing instead of living honestly.
I think social pressure can quietly shape people's priorities in unhealthy ways,
Especially when success becomes more important than peace.
or when appearance becomes more important than connection.
One regret I hear often from older adults is losing touch with people they cared about.
That one hurts because sometimes there's no dramatic reason behind it.
Life simply becomes busy.
Exactly. People move away, routines change, conversations become shorter, and eventually years pass.
Then suddenly you look at an old photo and think, wow, we were so close.
I've experienced that feeling before. It's strange how certain friendships once felt permanent.
And now they only exist through memories.
I think adulthood teaches people that relationships require attention and effort.
They really do. Good relationships don't survive automatically.
Honestly, I wish I appreciated some stages of life more while I was living them.
Me too. Sometimes we only recognize beautiful moments after they become memories.
And maybe that's why people become more thoughtful as they grow older.
Because regrets slowly teach us what truly matters.
Usually not fame, money, or perfection, but connection, balance, peace, and time with people we love.
I think this is the point where regrets can either make a person bitter or wiser.
That's such an important distinction.
Because regret itself isn't always negative. Sometimes it teaches people lessons they would never learn otherwise.
I agree. Some of my biggest mistakes became turning points in my life.
Same here. In painful moments, people usually focus on embarrassment or disappointment, but later they often realize those experiences changed them in useful ways.
I've noticed that too. Difficult experiences can increase self-awareness.
Definitely. You start understanding your habits, fears, strengths, and emotional patterns more clearly. For example, after experiencing burnout, I became much more protective of my time and energy. That experience helped you grow. It really did. Before that, I thought working constantly was something to be proud of. Sometimes life forces people to slow down and rethink their priorities. Another positive thing about regret is that it can make people more compassionate. That's true. When you've made mistakes yourself, you become less judgmental toward others. Exactly. You stop expecting perfection from everybody, including yourself. Which is important because many people are extremely harsh toward themselves, especially perfectionists. They replay every mistake repeatedly in their minds. Meanwhile, growth usually comes from accepting imperfections instead of fighting them constantly. I love that idea because nobody gets everything right. Nobody. Even confident and successful people make terrible decisions sometimes. The difference is that emotionally healthy people learn from mistakes instead of building their entire identity around them. That's such a good point. I used to think making mistakes meant I was failing in life. And now? Now I see mistakes more like information. They show you what needs attention or improvement. That mindset changes everything. It really does. Instead of asking, why am I like this, you start asking, what can I learn from this? That creates progress instead of shame. Exactly. I think regrets can also motivate people to become more honest versions of themselves. How so? Well, after enough disappointing experiences, many people stop pretending. They become more direct about what they want, what matters to them, and what kind of life they actually want to build. That sounds like emotional maturity. Maybe it is. I also think regrets can make people braver over time. Because they realize avoiding action creates regret too? Yes, sometimes the bigger regret is not trying at all. I've heard many people say they regret missed chances more than failed attempts. Same. Failure can hurt temporarily, but endless curiosity about what could have happened can last much longer. That's why growth mindset matters so much. Definitely. Growth mindset means believing you can improve, adapt, and become wiser through experience, instead of believing one mistake defines your whole future. Because it doesn't. And honestly, life would be impossible if humans never received second chances. Very true. Most people are still learning, even as adults. We're all improving little by little. And sometimes regrets are simply proof that you're becoming a more thoughtful person. I think today's conversation shows something very important. Everybody has regrets. Absolutely. No matter how confident, successful, intelligent, or experienced someone seems, they've made mistakes too. And honestly, that's part of being human. Life would feel very strange without mistakes, awkward moments, failed plans, and lessons learned the hard way. The problem starts when people get trapped in the past. Yeah, reflection is healthy, but living inside old memories can become painful, especially when people keep punishing themselves for things they can no longer change. At some point, you have to accept that the past already happened and focus more on who you're becoming now. I really believe personal growth is more important than personal perfection. Same here. Perfect people don't exist anyway. Not even close. I also think honest conversations like this are useful for English learners. Definitely, because emotional topics help people speak more naturally. When you talk about real experiences, your English becomes more personal and meaningful. And vocabulary becomes easier to remember because emotions create stronger memories. So if you're listening, try practicing English by talking about your own experiences honestly. You don't need perfect grammar every second. You just need courage to express yourself. Even simple sentences can become powerful when they're sincere. You can say things like, "I wish I had studied harder," or "I learned something from that mistake." Those kinds of sentences are practical because they reflect real life. And they also help people connect emotionally during conversations, which is the true purpose of language. Not sounding perfect, but understanding people and being understood. I think many listeners will probably remember their own regrets after this episode, hopefully with kindness toward themselves, not just criticism. Because growth becomes much easier when people stop hating themselves for being imperfect. And every difficult experience can still teach something valuable. Maybe regrets are painful, but sometimes they show us what really matters. And maybe that's what helps people move forward with a little more wisdom, gratitude, and understanding.